So you know all about this channel, and you know about Streetbeefs, and you know that the history of those two channels will forever be intertwined. But in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 secrets that I have never told anyone on video about Streetbeefs. We'll kick this list off with the biggest, juiciest one, and that is the secret that I've only told a handful of people about the fight with Ninja Ron. The only people I've ever told this is one guy from the OG, Scarface, and the Pink Man. If you watch the Pink Man videos, I told him this because he was super interested in this fight. During the fight with Ninja Ron, my right foot was completely broken. Several of the bones in my right instep were broken. I broke them in sparring about 8 or 9 days prior to this event. My feet are prone to breaking. I break them all the time. But here was the problem. I had to kick Ron in the legs. Every time I go to Streetbeefs, I've set out to prove a point. One of the points that we needed to prove in this was that Ron would not be able to do anything about the leg kicks because untrained fighters, period, can't do anything about leg kicks. They think they know about them, they've seen them on TV, but they've never actually experienced them. So I had to kick him in the leg, but I couldn't use my right foot, and I couldn't even really plant it to throw the left kick. My left kicks typically look a lot better than this. I pride myself on my left kicks, and when I watch this video now, I'm really upset about it because these looked terrible. But I literally could not hardly put any weight on that foot. It was excruciatingly painful the entire time. Now, if you haven't already, I'm going to link a playlist up there and in the description below with like the entire story about Ninja Ron, and I'll do that for each of my Streetbeefs fights in this video. Secret number 2, this one's pretty juicy as well. Why am I 4-0? I probably should have made this secret number 4. I'm 4-0 at Street. Anyway, secret number 2, I'm 4-0 at Streetbeefs, and if you search for Icy Mike Streetbeefs, you'll find 3 fights: Ninja Ron, Corey Guns, and the Dragon. So where did I pick up that 4th win? I'll tell you where. I was It's first opponent. Yes, It.
We got It with a record of 1-4 out of Richmond, Virginia.
That It. It came to Streetbeefs for the very first time with Wild Whitey. They were super nice and super cool and really into the Streetbeefs experience. It really wanted to fight. Nobody wanted to fight him. Yaz had just fought Wild Whitey. Scarface asked Yaz if he would do it, and Yaz had just fought. He was like, I don't know, give me some time maybe. And the show stopped. Scarface was looking around trying to find somebody to fight this guy. The fights were kind of coming to an end, but he really wanted to fight. You could tell. It was very clear. He said, I really want to fight. He also said that he'd never fought before, so nobody wanted to fight him. Well, Scarface has always been good to me. This guy seemed like a nice guy, so I said, I'll do it. Now, I had a fight with Corey Guns later, so I wasn't super excited about getting in any kind of exchange with an unknown variable like a guy like It. So the fight started, and I immediately clinched him, took him down to the ground. He tried to get up. I kneed him in the body, and the fight was over. The only people that saw this fight were the people that watched the live stream in the Facebook group and the people that were there. So because the fight was so terrible and short, it was like 15 seconds, you didn't miss anything. Apparently it wasn't going on the main YouTube channel. That was going to be like bonus content for the Streetbeefs Facebook group, but it didn't make it over. It got deleted some kind of way. And Scarface was like, hey man, I'm really sorry. And I was like, that's okay. Secret number 3 from the fight with Corey Guns. Now, if you have not watched this fight, you are missing out. This is one of the fucking greatest things ever on video. There are some secrets to this fight. One thing that I've said before is that I'm always setting out to prove a specific point with each of my Streetbeefs appearances. In this one, I've been working really hard on this standing clinch, dirty boxing style of fighting, and I hadn't had a chance or a good opportunity to test that on a large person full contact. So that was the whole genesis of that fight. I wanted to standing clinch with a guy that was over 200 pounds and see what happened. And it went about how I expected it to. It worked okay to mitigate some damage, but I did have to resort to some athleticism and some kicking and stuff like that because I couldn't hang in there forever. I don't know if this part's a secret. We'll call this a bonus secret. I think I've said this before in a video. Corey broke his hand on my head, on my big thick skull, on my noggin. I think he broke it at the end of the first round when he was like 4, like 7,000 times. But the real secret is that while they were setting up, they were putting up this big work light, this big spotlight. And me and Yaz were standing in the area where me and Corey fought. And Yaz and I were like talking about kicks and just kind of working on some stuff and talking about some techniques. And I made the observation that the light was going to be a problem, because if it was in your face, there was like no depth perception, you had no reaction time. And Vandal made the observation that that could be a factor. So during that fight, I intentionally tried to keep the light at my back, but not do it too much where it was obvious that that's what I was doing, because I didn't want Corey to get the same idea. So thanks, Vandal, for that thought. Who knew, Vandal, master tactician. Secret number 4 comes from my fight with the dragon. Now, one issue that's been discussed in several videos is the decision to stay on the ground. Even though I was clearly going to have an easier time on the feet, I teach this group of teenagers every weekend. I teach this teenage self-defense class. And kind of one of the things that we go over is that very rudimentary, very basic guard retention. Like, I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy, but just very basic guard retention, how powerful it is against someone that doesn't actually know how to grapple.
Come on, Dylan, unload. You gotta get loose, Dylan.
Dylan has passing.
Get there, Dylan.
Come on, Dylan.
Elbows, Dylan.
That's right.
Control, Dylan.
Come on, Dylan.
There you go. There you go.
A lot of people commented saying that Dylan getting me down on the ground was going to be the way that he would win this fight. So again, I set out with a point to prove. I was like, no, I'm going to tap him out. I'm going to tap him out with my shitty jiu-jitsu and my mediocre guard retention. And I wanted to prove to the kids, they're teenagers, so they watch Street Beefs. I wanted to prove to them how easy it was to retain guard against someone that didn't know. I'd seen videos of the dragon grappling, and I knew that he wouldn't be able to pass my guard, or if he did, I'd be able to immediately take it back. But the truth is, I set out to win that fight by submission. And I won't say it's embarrassing that I didn't. There's something weird about that guy's physiology. It was like trying to submit an Atlas stone. Like, I don't know why the armbar didn't work.
Working. Come on, Dylan.
I don't know why his head popped out of the guillotine. Like, none of those things made sense to me, and they still kind of don't. So, to the Dragon's next opponent, don't try to choke him or armbar him. For some reason, it's not going to work. So, secret number 5. When I reveal the secret, it basically just creates another secret, which is smart because you have to subscribe so you get the answers to your questions eventually. Maybe. Probably not. Everyone knows that Street Beefs is an important part of my past, of my history. But is it an important part of my future? Now, the easy answer is yes, of course. I'm part of the Street Beefs Facebook group. We share exclusive content that we don't share on the channel in that group. So if you're not part of that Facebook group, you need to get in there, especially if you like our stuff, because there's just more of it there that you can't see on this channel. But the real question is am I going to fight again? That's what everyone wants to know. When are you fighting again? When are you going back to Street Beefs? Who are you fighting next? When are you going to fight Mighty Mouse? And so I'm going to answer that, and that's not even the secret. The answer is I'm probably not. I'm probably not going to fight. Kristen hates it, obviously. Financially, it's kind of irresponsible. I got to shut the business down for a day, be away from my family. The last trip was sponsored, and that helped. But it's just not the smartest use of my time, even though I love it. So I'm probably not going to fight again. That's a no-brainer. But notice I said I'm probably not. I rarely say never. I didn't even say it then. I would say I never say never, but sometimes I say never. I rarely say never. I didn't say never. So here's the secret. You guys ready? Here's the 5th and final secret about my next Street Beefs opponent, if it exists. You ready? I'm building tension. I'm also milking watch time. It's been discussed. Scarface and I have discussed it. It's been kicked around by all the important people, all the key players. There is a fight left at Street Beefs for me. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it's been discussed. We've think tanked it. Thunk tank. We thunk tank it. Think tunk? Thank tunk? What's the past tense of think tank? Is think tank a verb? Can you think tank something? We brainstormed on it. We talked about it. We discussed it. I won't say we planned it. It's probably not gonna happen. Probably not. Stay tuned to this channel. Stay tuned to Street Beefs, obviously. It's probably not going to happen, but it could. But there is one fight. So comment below who you think that person is. Not who you want to see me fight. You can comment that too. Comment both. Comment who you'd like to see me fight, but comment who you think the final fight for me at Street Beefs would be. If it were to happen. Theoretically, possibly. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm going to put a bunch of playlists and stuff in the cards up there and in the description down below. So make sure you watch all of that stuff. It's all the best of Street Beefs, all my stuff from Street Beefs, everything we've ever done Street Beefs related, and we'll see what happens.